Brothers and sisters, a new enemy has risen in Bilgewater. The goddess Nagakaboros has shown him to me.
Reveal him to us, Truth-bearer.
This Blood Harbor Ripper butchers men.
Riot
with their
Games' new
bows.
surprise release title, Ruined King, a League of Legends story, marks the star-studded developers' foray into the classic JRPG format. Despite its formulaic plot, Ruined King manages to engage players through a hodgepodge of gameplay mechanics, character progression, and fantastic itemization. The game gives fans a heavy dose of Runeterra's lore and expands on the universe that Riot is creating. Known for taking winning formulas and making them, well, win more, Ruined King is no exception, and Riot continues to pump out more high-quality content for fans and newcomers alike. Ruined King carves out its story in the southeastern islands of Bilgewater and the Shadow Isles, which covers about 5% of the landmass in Runeterra. As an RPG, it lends itself less so to the feeling of exploring a large, boundless world, and spends more time on character backstory, letting the players dig into the nuances of some of their favorite League champions. Playing through the story feels more or less like a chore and is primarily fueled by players' interest in building their playable characters to take on harder challenges. Unfortunately, the game fails to introduce characters in an exciting or meaningful way, and pretty much slaps them in your party when you meet them, with the exception of Ari, who Riot managed to bless with a traditional JRPG surprise introduction. If you're coming to the game with a wealth of knowledge on Runeterra, this might not feel as underwhelming, but for new entrants to Runeterra, new playable characters feel a bit random upon your first encounter with them. Ruined King utilizes a cardboard cutout system of artwork for dialogue scenes, which, while interesting and cool at first, gets very stale very quickly, creating less meaningful interactions between characters. While animation and cinematics are mainly drawn stills of characters, the voice acting in the game is top-notch and acts as its saving grace for those lackluster scenes. If you're a fan of the web series Critical Role, famed voice actors Matt Mercer, Laura Bailey, and Liam O'Brien all make appearances as Gangplank, Misfortune, and Yasuo, respectively. Despite the fact that dialogue and plot leave much to be desired and definitely don't act as the primary drivers of progress, the gameplay systems that Riot and Airship utilize feel great and keep the player hooked on the game from start to finish, something most modern RPGs struggle to attain. Riot Games only published Ruined King and hired the outfit Airship Syndicate to develop the game due to their well-known previous titles from the Battle Chasers franchise. Borrowing from their previous successes, Ruined King utilizes the same combat system, and yes, it's still a smash hit. The combat in Ruined King feels strategic, thought-provoking, and rewarding. There's just enough complexity added to the traditional JRPG system to make combat feel fresh and interesting. If you're not familiar with the Battle Chasers system, it's essentially the same thing as a traditional JRPG, with additional turn order mechanics added in. Players always have the option to use an ability in one of three lanes: power, balance, and speed, allowing abilities to be empowered, sped up, or simply cast as usual. Though the battle system is amazing, we played the game through on Heroic mode, the hardest difficulty, and it felt like normal in a Final Fantasy game, so it would be nice to see harder difficulties or a New Game Plus mode in their next installment. If Ruined King nails any aspect of the gameplay, it's character progression. Using a twofold method of improving your characters through the rune system and ability upgrades, building out your characters according to your own theories and playstyle feels increasingly rewarding as the game marches through its level 30 maximum. Complete with legendary weapon quests, an item enchantment system, and secret level 3 ultimates for each character, the game does an excellent job of making the player feel excited and full of wonder about the possibilities for upgrading their character as the story marches on. For a game centered around League of Legends universe Runeterra, there are so many champions to choose from, yet the game only focuses on 6 total playable characters. While it would have been nice to see an ensemble cast that explores the entire world of Runeterra, I think it's fairly clear that Riot wants to iterate on this game design and build sequels and DLC content as they expand outward into several genres. The gameplay itself feels great and hooked us for the entirety of the game. However, there were a few technical shortcomings that left us wanting for a more polished experience. Thankfully, Airship Syndicate is already dropping updates and actually fixing bugs, something that's rare to see in the modern gaming world.
Brahm, it's really you.
Yes. And look, I have brought a friend. Now, be brave and take good care of him until I return. Huh?
I will.
Rest now. Brom will find a cure for this. You have my word.
Taking a look into the technical performance, we decided to review Ruined King on PC, as the vast majority of Riot's titles have been on PC, and we felt that this would be the intended way to play the game. While the game plays smoothly overall for someone with patience, there are several aspects of the technical side that feel very clunky on mouse and keyboard versus using a controller. Ruined King was released for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and of course, PC. Designing the game for so many systems is obviously no simple feat. However, the mouse and keyboard options felt like an afterthought and constantly misfired when we tried to target units in combat or use potions on party members between battles. Save states were reportedly corrupted on multiple systems often, so we ended up using 2 separate saves and saving twice at every junction, just to make sure we didn't end up wasting 2 hours of playtime only to have to play them again the next day. While we only ran into one occurrence of a corrupted save file during the entire playthrough, other player reports showcased a rampant problem. Airship Syndicate has since updated the game with a hotfix to address the issue, which was a fantastic showcase of their ongoing support for an already shipped single-player title. Overall, Ruined King, a League of Legends story, shows that Riot has what it takes to move the Runeterra Universe into the single-player RPG arena. The game is chock full of lore and character backstory that will leave fans of the franchise begging for more content. Releasing Ruined King alongside Riot's new Netflix series, Arcane, was an incredible move by Riot and has plunged both existing fans and newcomers alike into the beautiful world of Runeterra. While the game has a few technical drawbacks and the story could have been a bit more engaging, the game overall was one of the better single-player titles we've seen in recent years. Hats off to Riot for a successful first entry into the genre. We gave this one an 8 out of 10. For more gaming reviews, news, and guides, keep it IQ.